Hey guys, welcome back. And if this is your first time to my channel, my name's Amanda. I like to show people how to cook without necessarily needing to use a recipe. Now that's not to say I don't ever use recipes, but when I do, it's usually just for inspiration, and then I kind of adjust and use the recipe kind of just as another tool in my kitchen toolbox. Tonight, no recipe. We're making indoor grilled chicken sandwiches or chicken burgers, and I'm gonna make some roasted potatoes and probably just throw on a green bean side dish or something like that for some kind of green. Or, by the end, I might just cut up some cucumbers and carrots and call it a night. But anyway, we'll get started prepping up our potatoes for the roasted potatoes. All right, so I am super excited right now. The house is really quiet. My girls and husband just left for Taekwondo, and it's just so peaceful. They're very quiet kids though. I have identical twin daughters that are 13 years old. They're working towards their black belt in Taekwondo. And their main hobbies are reading and drawing. And so they're very, very quiet kids, but I don't know. There's just something about being in the house by yourself. So all I'm doing right now is peeling the potato. If you like the potato skin, you could just give it a really good scrub and you would be good to go. But I don't know. Sometimes I use the potato skin, sometimes I don't. One thing that we do want to make sure that I learned the hard way is if you have a garbage disposal, most garbage disposals cannot handle a big massive amount of potato skins. So if your garbage disposal tends to stop up on you a lot, don't put your potato peels down the disposal. Take the time to put them in the trash. So I've got a little trash bowl here working. So a lot of times when I do these potatoes, I will do them in my skillet, but I've got my cast iron skillet back there. But tonight I want to use my big cast iron skillet for making the chicken. And so I'm going to do these potatoes in the oven, which reminds me, I better get my oven started. So let me double check and make sure there's nothing in it. Awesome. I'm going to use the convection roast feature, but if you don't have a convection roast, just, bake it. And let's see, I think I'm going to go with 425 because I want it to be pretty hot. Anytime I'm cooking, I just kind of on a whim that night decide how hot or not I'm going to do my oven. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is put a little bit of, I'm going to use avocado oil because avocado oil can get very hot without burning. So I'm going to put that down. I've got a cookie sheet right here. This thing has seen better days, but it still does good. And we'll just chop up our potato into small, cube type pieces. Now, the only thing that's really important here is that we keep them, close to the same size, because that way they will all cook at the same time in the oven. You don't want, if you have some large pieces and then you had some small pieces, then the small pieces would start to burn and your large pieces would still be raw, and that would not be good. So we're going to add some more oil, but I like to just put some down first. So I don't know. I like making homemade French fries, but somehow doing these little cubed squares kind of taste similar to homemade French fries, and they just seem easier to manipulate on the cookie sheet than the French fry shape. So that's the main reason why I'm going with this shape of potato. So any of y'all who follow me on Instagram, I'm dittdott on Instagram. So awesome, thanks for the follow. And take a moment to subscribe on my YouTube channel too, so that you can know when I upload more videos. But today on Instagram, I posted a very exciting thing. I am very much into yoga. Almost 2 years ago, I started a daily yoga practice, and I'm saying my 2-year yogaversary is coming up. All right, so also a trick is to, like, I've got 2 layers here that I'm stacking, so I can just cut a little faster too. So my 2-year yogaversary, like I said, is coming up. So I started a Facebook group called dittdott yoga. And in this group that, you know, you're welcome to find and join, I will link it down in the description below this video, is just anybody who wants to start their own yoga journey. So we're going to start it out as a 31-day countdown in March, because by the end of March, I'll be at my 2 years. So it's going to be kind of like a countdown for me to hit 2 years. But honestly, it's really not about me. It's about introducing movement to people, and I want everyone to set their own personal movement goals and just create a community around health and well-being. I love cooking. I love cooking healthy, nutritious foods. I have a very different definition of what a healthy, nutritious food is from the health industry. You will find by following me, you're going to see me cooking with, you know, real whole foods as much as possible. Okay, so I've got these piled up. So yes, let me just finish that thought before I move on. So yeah, take a time and, you know, check out my yoga group. It's going to start, so people can join right now, but we're going to start on March 1st and count down. And by the end, you know, if you participate with us, you'll have 31 days of a habit built up of just movement. And I'm suggesting yoga, but, you know, I want everyone to set their own personal goals that work for their body and their lifestyle. All right, so we're gonna put a little bit more of that avocado oil and some salt, pepper. Now, if you don't have avocado oil, you know, go ahead and use your olive oil, or if you like coconut oil would be great. I don't recommend canola oil. It's a processed oil. It's not, it's man-made. So I stick to more natural oils and fats. If you had some melted bacon grease, that would be good to use in this recipe. Okay, so this is onion powder. Whenever I buy bacon, I buy nitrate-free bacon. And, you know, lard is actually really good for you. If you get lard from, did I say it's garlic powder? If you get lard from a pig raised on a farm, it's actually a good source of vitamin D. Okay, so this is paprika. Going to be fairly generous with that. You could also use chili powder if you want your fries to be a little bit spicier. Chili powder or... All right, now we're going to get in there, and I'll probably salt them again at the end, but for now, we'll see if that's enough. And you want them to be in one layer. Don't have them stacked up, and try to, like, you know, have as much space between them as possible. You don't want them crowded, or they won't get browned and delicious. They'll be soggy and mushy, and, you know, nobody wants that. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands and we'll get started on the chicken. Okay, so I'm gonna just set these out of the way for now and grab my chicken out of the refrigerator. All right, so I've got some chicken here. So like I was saying about the pork, I would love to be buying my meat from local farms, but unfortunately, that's just not something that I can do right now. So, you know, everyone's got to do the best that they can with the circumstances they have. Okay, so this is a big honking piece of chicken. So what I'm going to do is I'm thinking about the size of my hamburger buns, and I'm going to cut the chicken at an angle and try to make pieces of chicken that, you know, would be about the size of a burger, maybe a little smaller because I'm going to try to pound them down a little bit. So that one's kind of big. I mean, we're just guessing here. All right, grab another one. This one's a little bit smaller, so I'm going to get 2 out of it. And so I'm cooking for a family of 4 tonight, but I think I'm going to make 4 and just 1 extra in case my husband either wants 2 sometimes, or that way I'll have a leftover one for my lunch tomorrow if he doesn't want 2 tonight. Or let's be frank, my daughter Izzy, sometimes this is one of the meals that she loves and she will go in for seconds. Okay, so I do not have one of those. I'm gonna have to wash my hands again. I didn't time that right. I'm just putting the rest of this chicken in a Ziploc bag so that way I can cook with it another night. I'm just gonna set this out of the way for a minute and I'll put it up later. Same thing, you know, off camera, it's off, you know, it's out of sight, out of mind. Okay. So, I forgot what I was saying, dang it. Oh, Izzy and her meals. She loves burgers and chicken burgers and things like that, and she will eat seconds on those. And then other nights, you know, if it's something she doesn't like, she's like, I'm not that hungry tonight, Mom. No, I say that. They're actually really good eaters. Okay, so I lost my meat pounder in the move. So we recently moved, and I haven't found it yet, and I haven't bought a new one. So you can use like a small, sturdy, like mason jar, or, you know, if you're careful, a wine bottle. I'm using the back side of my knife, and I'm being very careful, and I'm just pounding out the meat. This is gonna help make it tender, because when you're eating chicken between a bun, you don't wanna have a tough piece of chicken. You need it to be able to bite with your teeth, right? So, oh my goodness. All right, so this is nice and pounded. And remember, proteins shrink up a little bit, so it's okay that's a little big. And also, you know, it makes a really good picture when the meat's kind of spilling over the bun. Not very practical to eat, but you know, that's how they do it in restaurants. Okay, I just want to flatten this out a little bit. So, you know, we make it work. We just use what we have. And I think, you know, why have an extra meat pounder tool? That's probably why I haven't bought one, because when the day that I needed it and I didn't have one, I just started doing this, and I'm like, hey, this works, and then I don't have to have something else in my drawer. This one's not very round shaped. Oh well. So don't skip this step. So I'm all about the kitchen shortcut, okay? But for this dish, pounding your chicken out is worth the extra, you know, 4 or 5 minutes it's gonna take, depending on how many you're making. Because, like I said, you need your chicken to be tender. And we're gonna do another little secret here in a minute that'll help tenderize it too. Now, I didn't marinate my chicken today. If you had marinated it all day, that would also help make it tender. But I hadn't decided what I was gonna make for dinner tonight until, you know, a couple minutes before it was time to start cooking, because I do that a lot. All right, I'm gonna put this in the sink. Wash these hands up again. Okay, there's so many ways you could go with this. Like if I was making these chickens by myself, I'd probably use some Frank's Red Hot sauce because I like spicy things, but my kids don't. So we won't do that tonight. I'm gonna add some olive oil. I swear this one curl is like wanting to be in my eyeball today. Sometimes I take my scissors and because it's just one hair that's longer than the rest of the curl. Sometimes I'll just cut that one hair. Okay, so here's the other little secret. I'm gonna add a splash of red wine vinegar. You could use white wine, you could use apple cider vinegar, whatever vinegar that you have on hand. That will actually help tenderize the meat. And like I was saying before, if you were to marinate your chicken, then that vinegar would have time to actually really get in there and work and help tenderize. But we're just doing a super quick flash. Okay, I'm just using like the barest tablespoon, if that, of brown sugar in this because brown sugar caramelizes, or sugars, any sugars, caramelize under heat really well. So a lot of times we eat with our eyes, and when you see a chicken that has those like beautiful grill marks or has that dark color on it, your stomach and your nose and all of that starts working together and goes and says, that is so good. So if you just take, okay, I'm putting the spoon back in here because it just had a little bit of brown sugar in it. If you just take a little bit of brown sugar and rub it in on there, it's gonna give your chicken that much more chance to get that brown color. And we're not really even necessarily doing it for flavor. We're just doing it for our eyeballs. I mean, it does add a little flavor, but we're not adding that much sugar. Okay, again with my garlic powder. It's not garlic salt because I like to control my salt myself. I don't want to use a product that has the salt in it for me. So garlic and onion. All right, Watson. Sorry, guys. All right, some more of that paprika. And I think that's it. And then, so I'm gonna like massage this into the chicken. Get it all nice and coated. And it's just, it's not really even a marinade. It's just more of a flavoring at this point because we're not really gonna give it much time to hang out like this. But, you know, I could have done this step before I did the potatoes and then that would have given it an extra, you know, 15 minutes. But I didn't think about it tonight. All right, so I'm gonna get this skillet nice and hot. Now, normally I would turn my fan on, but that's gonna make so much noise. So I'm gonna try to do it without the fan and hopefully we don't get too smoky in here, but I want my skillet really hot. Okay, I noticed that my oven just came up to temperature, so I'm going to put my potatoes in the oven and set a timer. I wanna check on them in like 15 minutes. I don't really remember how long they take. Oh, I pushed the wrong button. 15 minutes. Timer, go. All right. So we're gonna get this hot. We're gonna use avocado oil again. Let me get a tongs. And a plate or bowl to put the chicken in once it's done. Oh my gosh. The paprika and the garlic, I can already start to smell everything. I'm hungry today. Need to make myself a little snack because I'm actually cooking dinner early while the kids are gone. And then this will be pretty easy to re-warm up, so I'm not too worried about that. So, okay, so I'm holding my hand over the skillet to see if it's hot. And actually, here's a chance to show y'all a really cool cooking tip for people who aren't sure how hot to get their skillet. If you get a bowl of water, and then I like to use an eyedropper, but you can also just, you know, use a little spoon, but you only want 1 drop of water. So I'm gonna put the water and it will bubble up like this. Hold on, let me bring this over so I can show you better. Okay, so when we put the drop of water and it just bubbles like that, that means your skillet isn't as hot as we want it to be. So when it's basically like miniature boiling. But here in a second, I'm going to show you what will happen when it actually gets to the temperature that you want it to be. So you just got to be patient, because if you're not patient, then you're not going to get that good color that we want on our chicken. And that's really important. All right, let's see. Ah, come on, get hot. So again, that is a hot skillet, but we want it to actually ball up. Okay, now I'm just playing. I'm gonna edit out all this, so you're not gonna hear this part. Okay, there you go. See how it's dancing across the skillet now? That's what we want. There you go. See how it balls up and dances around. Let me show you one more time. Then that means your skillet is screaming. So we want to quickly add in some oil, and your oil will burn if you then don't get the chicken in very quickly. That's the sound we want to hear. Okay. It's also imperative that you don't overcrowd your skillet. Okay. So there's two things. One, we don't want to overcrowd the skillet. And two, you don't want to be flipping it back and forth a bunch. So I'm going to let this cook, and then I'll come back right before we need to flip it over. Okay, so we're about to flip it over. And you see how we got that nice good color? And now I'm going to actually lower the temperature quite a bit, like down to medium low, because we want to give the chicken a chance to cook all the way through. So we want it to, it's so hot right now that lowering it right now, it'll still give color to the other side, but we want to now lower the temperature so that we don't burn it before it has a chance to cook all the way through. Now, if you are in a glass top stove, those take longer to cool down. So you might need to pull your skillet off to the side a little bit while it's kind of cooling down just a bit, and then put it back on. You know, you're gonna have to work with your knob and, you know, keeping it, you know, all good at the same time. So again, we don't want to like flip them a bunch. So I'm just going to let these cook for a bit, and we'll show you what they're looking like in a little bit. Okay, so my chicken's been cooking for a few minutes, and what I'm going to do right now is check the temperature on one of the, you know, more plump pieces, just to see kind of where we are. So you want your chicken to get to 165 degrees internally. There's, you know, other methods, but tried and true is they call it instant read thermometer, but it's not that instant. I want to get an electric one, but this works for now. So it's only like at 120, so it's got some more time. And I'm going to go ahead and flip them over one more time. That way they can just keep cooking. Oh, look at that. Look at that color. Love it. Oh, this one, see, this one's getting almost too dark, so definitely need to flip him. It's also a lot smaller a piece, so I'm going to keep an eye on him. Actually, let me go ahead and give him a measure too, because he might be done. This piece. My daughter does not like it when I call the chicken he or she. I don't know. It's a bad habit I picked up, I guess. So, yeah, this one's already going up to 160. And boom, 160, 170. So we're going to pull this one out. It's all done. Okay, since this one was pretty small too, let's go ahead and give it a check. I've also got, like I said earlier, I was gonna pull out some just canned green beans. I like to make sure I have a vegetable green, like potatoes are not really I mean, they're a vegetable, but they're not super nutritionally dense. All right, so this one's just at like 158-ish, so I'm gonna leave it in here for a bit longer. And we'll check in again in a minute. Oh yeah, what I was gonna say is one of the other methods is to just get familiar with how firm a chicken breast feels when it's at 165. So when you push on this one over here, there's just not that much give. But like this one that is still, you know, needs more cooking, there's a lot more give to it. There's a method where like if you make a fist and you like squeeze with all your might, then that's like well done meat. And if you just have a loose fist, then if you push right here. So, I mean, one thing like is to kind of feel the toughness of that and kind of feel on your finger, on your hand. And it kind of can like help go into your brain about what the firmness needs to be. And with practice, you'll get it. But I don't know, I still like to double check. I used to never double check, and I was, you know, oh, my potatoes. I was usually pretty spot on. But then once I became a mom and started trying to cook dinner really fast, I kind of started rushing myself too much. And a couple of times where I tried to serve undercooked chicken, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. All right, I'm gonna turn off. I was boiling a pot of water for some tea later. Whew, okay. So, let's see, I don't know how to show y'all. Okay, so here's my potatoes, and all I'm gonna do right now, you see the color on the bottom here? I'm just kind of flipping them. And if they have, you know, if they were coated in oil good, and you don't mess with them a bunch, they shouldn't stick. Like I got one that kind of stuck there a little bit. All right. Just try to flip the majority of them. I'm not gonna go through and then I'm gonna put them back in for a few more minutes to get more brown on the bottom side. Oh, okay, except this is really, really hot. Like even my silicone glove here isn't working. So I'm gonna switch gloves and put this back in. Okay, my water got way up to boil. I don't actually like to boil my water when I'm making tea. I like to have it just simmering. I love tea. So I have like a massive tea collection. Some might say it's a problem. Oh, apparently I've got a smart fan and it detected I had too much smoke in the house, and so it came on by itself. That's interesting. Okay, so this piece is done, and I'm going to just let these continue cooking and we'll be back in a little bit. I just pulled my potatoes out of the oven, and you know they're done when you can stick a fork into one and it comes easily up. And as you can tell, if it'll focus, the outside is going to be a little crispy and the inside is fluffy and tender. So, I mean, very, very delicious. I also want to just take this moment. Oh, as you can see, I'm up here, I'm prepping. I've got, well, let's just come look. I am for my burgers. So I've got some pickles and red onion, lettuce, and then I've got some mayonnaise and mustard and ketchup out. And I will show you the assembled chicken burger at the end like I normally do. But just wanted to take this moment and tell you thank you so much for watching my video. I know there's so many things that you could be doing with your time, and I'm grateful that you spent some time with me this evening in my kitchen. And if you would take a moment to hit that subscribe button, lets me know that you're enjoying my content. And if you would put down any comments, give this video a like, send me questions. I will try to answer, any question that I can. And I will see you next time. Bye.